we're kind of waking up to this epidemic of loneliness right now where we're more connected than ever because we have the internet and phones and everything. But yet people are feeling more alone than they ever have before. Look, we're not here to sell you transformation. We're here to share some truths because this stage of life can sneak up on you in the best possible way.
There's a new quiet swagger that comes with it, one you earn simply by being you. We'll walk with you. You don't have to be anywhere else. Turns out it's good here, and sometimes it's even great.
Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to dive right into probably our most favorite topic and why this podcast even started. And it's all about community. So I came across something this week that just was like a light bulb moment for me of why community has just become so important. And I'd never really realized this difference between friendship and community. So I read this great article about communities and how they contribute to your life differently than friendships. Say like someone in your community is more likely to spontaneously drive you to the airport or drop off soup when you're sick. And that's the magic of community. And that's when the light bulb went off because yesterday soup got dropped off to my house, but more on that later. But it did get me thinking about the difference. And I realized I did a bit of research that community is like a broader context for social connections and belonging, but friendships are more intimate and personal. And you kind of need both. Because we think if we've got great friends that we've got our community, but I want to dig a little deeper on the difference between the two. So I guess we all know what friendships are. You know, they're close personal bonds. They're often with individuals, maybe between just a small group of people or besties or close colleagues. And it's a bit more emotional support. It's intimate. It's deep companionship. But community, on the other hand, can be like a broad network with shared interests. You don't necessarily have to be in deep friendships. You can develop that. But the other thing is it can be a more expansive, inclusive group with varying backgrounds and ages. And there's a different level of social support. There's different wisdom. There's different opportunities. You know, things like neighbours or club members or groups. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And you can definitely form intimate friendships with communities, but you don't have to. So I'm going to talk about examples a bit later of how you form a community. And they can become intimate friendships, but not everyone in your community will. So I kind of came up with these key distinctions that friends are chosen and communities can form naturally and organically, and you may not choose everyone in a community. And friends are more about your personal intimate needs, but community is this amazing broader support that I don't even know how I lived without. And yeah, there's just this diversity. And I know Heather's got some facts to talk about why that's so important, but I just really think we've got to start thinking about community as a complementary thing to friendships. They can be one in the same, but it's really important to have both. So Heather, hit us with some hot facts.
I'm ready to hit you, baby. I didn't really think about the importance of community. I thought, like what you're saying, it's more about your friendships, your close people.
Yeah. Your tribe, your community, those are the words, right?
Yeah. I thought of it like you have your coworkers, you have your team, and then you have your friends. But ultimately what's interesting about that is that we're kind of waking up to this epidemic of loneliness right now where we're more connected than ever because we have the internet and phones and everything. But yet people are feeling more alone than they ever have before. We're scrolling around on our phones, we're clicking around on posts, but something's feeling like it's missing for a lot of us. And it's not just loneliness, it's actually disconnection from our neighbors, from our support circles, and sometimes even from ourselves, which has definitely been a thing for me off and on throughout the years because I get so obsessed with work that I'm actually and you'll hear about that more, ladies, sometimes they're listening. But yeah, it's a disconnection epidemic, I suppose, that's kind of happening, even though we're so connected on our phones. So there's this really cool word that came up that I know Ellie's going to expand on too, and that's the third space. And I heard about that for the very first time when I was in New Zealand recently. And, one of the guys from Meta was there and he was telling me about this thing called the third space. So naturally I was intrigued and I checked it out. And here's the deal. So we all have a home. That's our first space, or hopefully most of us have a home or a place where we sleep. That's our first space. Most of us have a place that we work, depending on where we are in our lives, or we have had a place we've worked. That's our second space. But the real connection, that is the third space. The third space, the local cafe or pub, the community hall, the library, the park bench, the coffee club, which you'll hear about soon, places where you'd bump into a friend, share a story, or you just simply feel seen. Third spaces are where friendships are formed naturally, most importantly, without an agenda. But more and more, these spaces are being overlooked, or we're just simply forgetting how to show up. We're like rushing through our days, eyes on our screens, headphones in, head down, which, by the way, does my head in. Even at the gym, when I'm walking to my Pilates class, everyone in their 20s, like literally head down on their phone, bumping into me. But anyway, more on that probably another time. So there's these third spaces that exist, but many of us don't really know how to connect with them anymore. We kind of forgot somewhere along the line. So we start to wonder, where do I go to feel connected? Where do I truly belong? And so I looked into this a little bit more, and because we know that community really, really matters very deeply, whether it's 5 close friends, a neighborhood yoga class, an online group, people that get you, and it is very necessary. So much so that I have some stats, and I'm going to throw it back to you, Els. But a couple things that I came across. Number one, Harvard Study of Adult Development, which is ongoing since 1938. It's the longest running study on happiness, found, get this, that close relationships are what keep people happy throughout their lives. Social ties help delay mental and physical decline and are better predictors of long and happy lives. So important, regardless, by the way, of social class, IQ, or even genetics. Another one, WHO, World Health Organization, reports that social isolation and loneliness increase the risk of premature death by 26% or so, respectively. And the last one, according to the National Institute on Aging, socially engaged people experience less cognitive decline as they age. So if that's not enough to convince you on the importance of community, you just wait, you guys, because we have more. So Els, I'm going to throw it over to you more to talk a little bit deeper about that.
Yes. So we're on the same wavelength because I found this buzzword, the third space, and to develop that, the third place. But I wanted to share, that's why we've been talking about why it's important and some stats, but how do I create a community is probably, I would have asked that question before I, became part of one a year ago and where this whole great thing started. I think we're all aware of familiar with, micro communities or hobby and interest-based communities, like a book club or a walking group or a mother's club, or maybe you have a certain bridge or chess club or some sort of, thing that you do. And I think COVID was an amazing time in the sense of, not COVID itself, but it was an amazing time for people to form these interest groups, whether it was Zoom or walking, that we never really paid attention to before. But I found this buzzword too, which is so weird. So it must be
It's a thing.
Third space, which refers to a third place. Like it can be, like you said, Heather, a cafe, a park, a library. And it's, I think the way I found this, where strangers become friends. I really like that. And it doesn't mean you're besties or that you have, Easter and Christmas together, but you contribute to each other's life and it's really special. And we've got a third space we're going to talk about soon. But I found something else, Heather, that the term was actually coined by sociologist Ray Oldenburg because it's an informal, natural gathering spot that's not your home or private life where your friends and family exist. The second space, your work, school, a bit more structured. You're a bit more forced to be with those people. And the third space is where community happens organically. What I wanted to look at is, why is it so special? Because I've definitely found my third space and it's magical. And this is really cool. And it is different to your home, work and friendship space because there's no pressure and no titles. It doesn't matter if you're a CEO, a student, retired, everyone's just there as themselves and you don't even talk about work. I know people in my third space have been CEOs of mega companies, but I only know that just accidentally, but they never talk about it.
Because you're not going, oh, what do you do for work?
Exactly. And I just saw a friend post on LinkedIn. She's just going back from maternity leave and she did this beautiful post to her mother's group saying how much it meant to her And I just thought, how perfect is this timing? She wrote, we never talk, none of us know what any of us did for work. How, like, that's why community's different. A friend knows what you do for work. A friend knows who you fought with this morning. A friend knows intimate stuff about you. It's completely different. I think it's not about awkward networking or forcing friendship.
Yeah.
It's just shared interests and connecting over those or helping each other. And like your Harvard and other stats said, so good for your well-being and reducing stress.
This is where we share voices worth listening to on today's topic. Good to know. Up next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Errol Douglas. My salon is in Knightsbridge, London, the UK. I have two salons, a big salon, which is on Motcombe Street, that opened in 1998, so that's 28 years old. And then I have a satellite salon in the prestigious Peninsula Hotel, which has been open for just over 2 years. I've literally just won Global Hairdresser of the Year. I've built a really big community within hairdressers, and that's at home and that's abroad. So community is about camaraderie. It's about passion for people. It's about helping people. It's nurturing people. It's mentoring people. It's learning to take a back seat, not always be in the front. Even though I lead a lot of my shoots and I do a lot of my projects, I'm always listening. I want to listen and hear what that person's got to say. And then if it's a good thing as a collaborative thing, again, that's where your community grows even more. So community is a very ambiguous word for me because I'm evolving my community constantly. Community for me is everything because I wouldn't be here with that infrastructure. I deal with the best models, best makeup artists, best fashion stylists around the world. And you have to talk to people in a certain way to get the best out of them. My advice to anyone is the reach out level. You have to reach out to somebody, but in a respectful way. Don't bombard people. Nobody wants anybody who is weird. Find your opportunity. Start it off with a question, and then you can lead into something more than that. People are very wary if you say, oh, I want to assist you, whatever, because that means nothing. I think it's good to have a rapport first. Means I want to prove and help you. You have to be careful. You can't just run up to somebody. You can't just jump in somebody's space. Boundaries are really important. Respect, kindness, and read the room. Read the room.
Next up, we hand things over to someone younger to decode a trend, a slang word, or something we've missed. All right, let's get the cool kids to explain.
People waste their 20s the exact same way, not because they're lazy, but because they're chasing the wrong things. And the people that get the most out of their 20s, they all follow one strange rule. If you're in your 20s and you constantly feel like you're behind, like everybody's figuring life out faster than you, or like you're trying as hard as you can, but you're still not moving, this might be why. Because the real goal of your 20s isn't what people tell you. Not about making a lot of money or getting the perfect degree or even finding your life's purpose. Those things usually come later, but the goal is something much more important than that. The problem is almost nobody does it on purpose. People who really win in their 20s understand this early, and that is that your 20s are when your brain is getting wired. Your standards, your habits, the way you think about money, work, life. And once that wiring sets in, it quietly shapes the rest of your life. So the smartest people focus on something very different. Not money, not status, not titles. They focus on who is shaping their thinking. Here's the strange part. Most people don't even realize it's happening because the strongest force in human behavior is the environment that you're in. Your brain quietly copies the standards around it. That's why the real way to max out your 20s is simple. Be around a community of people that pull you forward, where you have no choice but to be pulled forward with them. Being around rooms of people where they think bigger, they move faster, they have higher standards for themselves. Because over time, their way of thinking will automatically become yours.
Every episode, we pause for wisdom from someone who's been through it and learned a thing or two. Here's a word from the wise.
My coffee club and community is every day for the last almost 20 years. And I get everything I need from there, except my real friends. It's a totally different relationship to my community friends. because community friends are all random people you wouldn't normally make friends with. And they turn out to be the most interesting, exciting, funny people. And we have a laugh every morning, have a laugh at myself. And I just love it. It just makes my life, right? Starts my day. If I don't ever see another person for the whole day, it doesn't matter because I've already started and had a laugh at myself, had a laugh with someone else, laughed about everything else in the world as well. We've talked about everything else that's happening in the world. and it's just the most unique situation, really fantastic. And I wish everyone could have it for themselves. It's the most fantastic thing. They have become friends in a very different way to all my other friends who are kind of chosen because of different, maybe the kids are at school together or we have things in common. But the community of the coffee club is completely different to that because they come from all walks of life and mostly they have really incredibly interesting lives, achieve amazing things, and it's just unique. It's a unique situation. I think I would be lost without the coffee club community. It really is an integral start to my day, right? I can't say how much amazing it is for anybody. And I think others feel that way as well when they come. And that's why they come. And a lot of people come down and they start to come and they can't come for some reason, but they really want to come anyway. Does that make sense? Right? So they come and they think, oh, this is great, we want to come, we want to be part of this. And then they come for a while and then they can't get there. But we've got the true believers who come every day. And they're the true believers, rain, hail or shine, we're there. And they hear my kookaburra laugh from about 2 miles away, they reckon. And it starts the day. And these people have become very good friends as well because I've heard all their ups and downs and I've been through my own life with my husband dying and whatever. Every day I went down there and every day I had them, even if I didn't talk about it to them at all, I had their strength and their comfort and friendship to laugh about other things in life and not focus on that. It's the most fantastic thing to have in your life is to have a social group like that.
Alrighty, in our next episode, we're going to talk girlfriends, the lunches, the laughs, maybe the midweek movies, and why skipping this is basically a crime. Turns out, something good might be closer than you think.